Do you know how to give a proper dive briefing? In this video, I'll share with you in detail some of the tips and tricks of giving a great dive briefing. So dive briefings are so important for the success of a great dive, whether it's students or certified divers. Most briefers wing it and they lose track of where they are in their briefing. And so therefore their briefing is not complete, or they leave bits and pieces out. Even though many dive guides and instructors have dove these locations or in these situations before, if they don't use something to help them structure their briefing, they will lose their place. They will forget something important. Maybe not every time, but from time to time, they're going to forget something, and what they forget may become very important later on in some particular circumstance. So we ask ourselves, how and what can we use to make sure we don't forget something? And of course, the answer to that are slates. A briefing slate, a dive location slate, a Divemasters slate, your instructor slates blend in with those. And those are things we're going to be talking about here in the next few minutes. During dive training, most of us saw our dive leaders utilizing their slates in connection with the dives that we were making. The mass majority of briefers think they become old salts and therefore they don't need their slates. And of course, this all stems from situations like, I forgot my slates, so I'll just wing it. If you forget your slates one time and you don't use your slates, then you're going to have a propensity to not use the slate again. So make sure you don't leave your slate in the car. If you leave it in your dive bag, go get it, bring it out, and utilize that slate. Now, the mass majority of the time, it's going to be okay. But again, the issue plays into it in that when it's not okay, I use a saying, an emergency is not an emergency until it's an emergency. So if you're using your dive slates, your briefing slates, then you're not going to forget something if you follow the slates. And of course, we call that being defensible. Being defensible means that in a situation where you're called upon to possibly testify on your actions and somebody else is testifying on your action, then you've got a resource that makes you defensible. So tell me something. If you go, let's say I'm here in Jacksonville. Let's say you go over to the Jacksonville airport and you get on the plane and the pilots come on and you saw them down there walking around kicking the tires for a couple of minutes. And then they came into the cockpit and they announced that they were going to take off, but they forgot their pre-flight checklist. Would you fly with them? I want you to think about that. As professionals, as dive professionals, use slates. Whether you're a dive leader on a charter boat, whether you're a dive master on a charter excursion situation, or you're an instructor, use your slates. You'll be identified as being a professional. So when you get ready to brief, utilize a slate that's well prepared. Now, we have a Diver Supply briefing slate. It's product number SL0705. This slate was a combined effort of retired military divers, retired public safety diver, instructor trainers, and numerous other resources from other agencies and things like NOAA and also the Navy dive briefing. So this is a combined effort of making an excellent dive briefing slates. And these are available online, or of course you can come in one of the stores and pick it up. Since I happen to be a SDI instructor trainer, we have the SDI Slate, which is product number 210450. And this is also a dive briefing slate. It's a little shorter, but very close to the large briefing slate, and encompasses the mass majority of all the important information that you're going to need as a dive briefer. The slates are broken into three main sections: the pre-dive, the dive conduct, and of course our post-dive conduct. And each of those areas are broken into steps. Each one of those steps is expanded upon to cover the important information that is needed within that particular step. Where it's broken into the different sections is easily combined in with your instructor slates, so that when you get to dive conduct, then you're able to shift over to the dive that you have, that you're getting ready to do, and you're able to brief on that dive conduct and then go back to post-dive conduct on your briefing slate. Shortly, we're going to have a video that actually walks you through the briefing slate step by step. We're not going to do it here. We want to keep this kind of short, but we want to get you to understand that these briefing slates are extremely important in your professional activity. We would enjoy hearing from you out there as an instructor, dive master, or even as a diver, how you feel about briefings that go on when you're on open water situations, when you're diving on a dive charter, things like that. We'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button over there and hit the like button. We would deeply appreciate your support there. It lets us know that you like what we're doing here. I'm Bob Collins. I appreciate you listening, and dive safe.